Yep.
Well, we talked about the positives. We talked about the action scenes. We definitely talked about acting and direction because you can't flaw Christopher Nolan really.
Yep.
Um, so, what was your opinion? What was your negatives of this film? What did you feel
Um,
was bad about it?
okay. Two things mainly to do with the comic, like associating it with the comic pretty much, doing comparisons. Um, First one was the okay, I'm going to try and say it without spoiling too much, but when it came down to Bane's character design, it didn't explain an awful lot of how he was physically like stronger and like just more dominating than Batman is in his bulletproof bat suit.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Batman's suit is like armor, pretty
Well,
much.
also you also have to remember that Bane was wearing a Kevlar vest as well, a massive, thick vest himself.
True, true, yes. But again, due to some scenes in the film, which you obviously know about,
Yeah,
um, it still leads me to question how could Bane dominate Batman so easily?
yeah. The thing is, Bane is supposed to be physically stronger than the Batman, and the thing is, he also didn't have a lot of protective clothing in the comics.
No.
You have to remember that Bane was just a brute force.
Yeah.
Um, I personally didn't have an issue with that.
Hmm.
He knew Batman. He knew what he was capable of, and they'd received the same training.
Yeah.
Um, so, in my opinion, that's not really an issue.
Okay.
There are things that are issues in the film, and I'm not saying that this film is without issues because it does have some massive gaping issues.
Yep.
Um, in my opinion, the big issue I had was the medical inaccuracy.
Yeah. I was the one that pointed that out to you, though, wasn't I?
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a medical inaccuracy in this film. Apparently, Bruce Wayne had no cartilage in his knees.
Oh, it was only one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know too much about medical jargon, but I'd assume no cartilage in the knee would mean it was more susceptible to injury. Um, and there's Batman jumping around, fighting fisticuffs with Bane, and all that jazz.
Oh, now
And
see, I can explain that because there was a scene where he was seen with a knee brace.
that is true. He does
What
get a knee brace.
my initial niggling is like the initial time skip because this film is based 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
That's what's bugging me about
yeah.
the
You
whole
you
medical thing.
you um you were just kind of along the lines of how did he get this worn down in 8 years?
When
Uh,
apparently, according to the Dark Knight film, he went into hiding.
yeah, he went into hiding for 8 years. Batman went into hiding for 8 years. Not a major spoiler.
Mm.
Um, it's kind of everywhere on the internet, so
Yep.
sorry if I spoiled something for you. But apparently, Batman's gone into hiding for 8 years. He hasn't been seen since the murder of Harvey Dent.
Mm.
And what happened was he is in, when you see him in the film, he's got a walking stick.
He's limping.
He's hobbling around. He's got a bad injuries, and
And he had a beard.
yeah, he had a beard, but then
He
again,
had a friggin' beard.
he had a beard in was it Batman Begins? But you haven't seen Batman Begins, so
That's yeah.
yeah,
So I can't really say much on
yeah,
that.
you need to go and watch Batman Begins,
I
good sir.
do. I
Um,
fail as a geek. Yeah.
mm. But no, he had a beard in
Mm.
Batman Begins.
So that was one of the little niggling
Yeah.
things. Another one, which this will not spoil the story in any way, but there is one particular scene where uh, there was a red pickup, if you remember,
Oh
photo
God, this
finish.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah. You told me you weren't quite sure on it, but I'm quite certain that there was incredibly poor acting from the
The choreography, I think you mean.
well, yeah, very poor choreography because the design of this red truck, right? It had a gun turret on the back of it with like a massive machine gun thing,
Yeah.
and you see a policeman drop down onto the back of this thing. Um, and you say he kicked the guy in the face. I say he punched him. I can't remember which one it was, but either way, I noticed that that guy standing on the back of the red truck did not move an inch.
Mm.
He just stood there and just reacted to the punch. That's it. He didn't react to the guy jumping down
The thing
or.
is, I'm pretty sure that he dropped down from the fire escape.
Mm,
I'm really sure, but I am going to see it again, and I'll be watching that scene closely. But I was pretty much along the lines of, I'm pretty sure that he dropped down from the fire escape and kicked the guy in the head.
he did, but I'm not disputing.
Yeah.
But what I am disputing is the actor's choreography.
Hmm.
He was like, it was, you could see he was deliberately waiting to be punched.
As
That
henchmen
really
do.
bugged me when I
Yeah.
was like saw that.
To be honest, I didn't notice. It
Mm.
really didn't detract me from the film.
Yeah,
It didn't distract me at all.
it could just be me being nitpicky, but again, it bugged me.
Yeah. The
So
next
yeah.
thing we both took issue with was Bane's punching of a concrete
Pillar.
wall.
That's
Yes.
right, the supporting pillar outside that building in a fight scene.
Yes.
I don't understand because I did, as most Batman fans would know, like obviously Bane is fueled by this roid stuff called Venom,
Yeah.
and it made him ridiculously strong and ridiculously fast.
Mm.
I didn't see any evidence of that in the film.
Yep, there was no venom, no mention of venom, no mention of any form of scientific experiments. Sorry
Yet
if I'm
during this
spoiling
fight
anything.
scene, Batman dodges out the way and Bane punches a hole in this concrete pillar, supporting pillar.
Yeah, he doesn't punch a hole through it. It's kind of he punches it slightly,
But you can
and
see an
you
obvious,
see
like, tiny crater
basically,
form around his hand. Didn't you?
yeah. Admittedly, I've been thinking on this as well, actually, because I was remembering some scenes in Batman Begins. But
Okay.
Bane not only is physically strong, but they also all learn martial arts. And
Right. So you're referring to the right. Okay. Since him and Batman have had the same training.
yeah,
Right. Okay. That would make sense.
yeah. So martial artists are taught to, hit
They're
blocks of
conditioned as well.
yeah. Um,
So okay, that's a fair enough point.
yeah. I took issue with the end personally,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to go into detail at all on the
Yep.
ending.
Mhm.
I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was kind of sitting there going, not sure about this ending.
Mm.
My overall opinion is this film is nowhere near as good as The Dark Knight.
Definitely not. That I can definitely agree with.
It's good.
Definitely worth the watch.
It's definitely worth the watch, but it's just not as good. It's not as good as The Dark Knight. The Dark
Agreed.
Knight was flawless. Well, I can't say flawless. It had some flaws, but Heath Ledger just had a better screen presence.
He made it better.
Yeah, he had a better screen presence, and the stakes were genuinely high. This, yes, the stakes were genuinely high. They were really high, but
Mm.
I felt the ending was a cop out.
Yep.
And Bane, he was awesome. I loved Bane in this film.
Yeah, he's easily my. I reckon he's my second most favourite character in the film. Obviously, the first being Catwoman.
Yeah. He had an interesting backstory. We're not going to go into details. It was well acted by Tom Hardy, but overall, it didn't entertain me as much as The Dark Knight did. We saw The Dark Knight together as well,
Yep.
and we were talking about that film for weeks afterwards.
Such a good film.
Yeah, this film isn't as memorable as The Dark Knight. It's good. It's good.
It's a good end to a very good trilogy.
Yes, this is probably the best comic book trilogy out there, by far.
Mm.
But it's the third one isn't as strong as the second one. It just isn't.
Yeah, totally agreed on that one.
So those are my closing thoughts. Do you have anything to add?
Only that it's definitely worth a watch. Just don't expect anything too elaborate.
Yes. It's best to go in here with your expectations low, because if you don't, you're just going to be
Disappointed.
Yeah, you're going to be disappointed a lot by a lot.
Overall, I'm glad I went to see it today.
Yes, I'm glad as well. We had a good time.
Indeed.
Anyway, this is Photo Finish signing off. Anything you're going to say goodbye?
Oh, sorry. Bye.
See you later, folks. I'll be uploading this hopefully soon.